Okay, so now I'm going to go through the ball. I'm going to model one real quick. This will be a recap for most of you. And then I'm going to get caught up to where we were on Friday. So I'm going to go to create polygon sphere. I'm going to frame it. Go to my channel box. I'm going to set my subdivisions down to an even number. I think we used 12. Go into shaded mode. And I'm going to delete every other edge along the top. The ones that lead to the center. That way we can make it all quads. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Hold down shift, left click, delete edges. Okay, now my ball has nothing but quads on it. This is also enough geometry. Oh wait, we did smooth it, didn't we? Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and smooth it. I need to add then the polygons menu. So go to mesh, smooth, and I need to set some options. I'm going to set divisions to 2. That's what we did, isn't it? I want to try to make mine the same as yours. That does, it does? Okay. Okay, we do the smooth once. And keep hard edges on. I'm going to turn that off. Y'all should default to this being smoother. I have it set. So actually, let me undo this. And so I can see that's not in my history now. And I'll show you how to reset stuff just in case you don't already know. So if you go to smooth, the options box, go to edit, reset settings. Okay, and then that will reset any tool to the my factory defaults. So now I'll click smooth and you can see that it actually is smooth now rather than being jagged on the edges. Okay, and we have a single division here, so that all looks good. Okay, so now before I start rigging, I have to delete the history. So I'm going to go modify, edit, delete by type, history. And you can see in the channel box that these other things here, the input section in the channel box disappeared because there's no longer any history on this object. Okay. I'm going to switch to viewport 2.0 as I get a little better results with my graphics card that way. Okay, so now to the point where we wanted to start adding deformers. So I want to go select the ball, go create deformer, nonlinear, bend. Okay, with that done, it created a bend deformer. You can't see it very well, so I'll turn on X-ray mode. There it is. If I want to interact with this bend deformer, I can go to the input section in the channel box and select the curvature attribute, middle mouse click and drag, and I can see it bend my ball. Okay, but we decided it's better to have the bend deformer, move down to the bottom of the ball. Okay, and then for that to work, we can decrease our low bound because this low portion down here doesn't need to be as long. And then we need to increase the high bound so that it will affect the top portion of this ball. So with high bound selected, I middle mouse click and drag, and I drag that up until it reaches the top of the ball. Okay, I'm going to set my curvature back to 0. Now I've kind of got my curve, my bend taken care of. I can always just select the ball and edit the bend by selecting the input section of the in the channel box when I have the ball selected. Yes. So tweak is a node that Maya always creates on any mesh that has a deformer. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. It's always going to be there if your mesh has history, basically. And deformers create history. Deleting stuff off a mesh creates history, or extruding, anything like that can create history. Okay, so with that done, now I want to select my ball, and I'm going to create another deformer, nonlinear, and this time it's going to be a squash. And the factor is the attribute that we want to edit to see it squash. Okay. Now we decided that moving the squash down to the lower portion of the ball is best. So the best way to do this is set your factor back to 0. Go into the side or front view and move this down almost all the way to the bottom. I don't like to have it right against the bottom, but just almost to the bottom. And you can go back and change this anytime you like. Okay. Now, to go back into perspective view and turn off the grid, I'm getting annoyed with it. And I use the factor, I can see that it is displacing the mesh, but it's only really affecting the portion that's within its bounds. So we need to increase that. So we'll increase the high bound so that it can reach above the ball. So that you can enter in that value numerically if you want to, and press 2. The low bound, I'm going to alter to a negative 0.1. Okay. So now we need to make sure we have our history in the right order. So if I squash it and bend it, it should still look okay. So I've got mine in the wrong order. So all I have to do is switch the order of these, because the order matters. Right now the bend is happening and then the squash. I need the squash to happen, then the bend. So I can right click on the ball and go select all inputs, go to inputs, all inputs, and then I can middle mouse click and drag on the squash 1 and drop it below the bend 1. Okay, now that changes the inputs history, the deformer history. Now with that done, you can see that it's acting a little weird. That's because if okay, so let's do this. So if I select my bend deformer, you'll see that this curve isn't long enough to affect the entire ball when it's been squashed. So I need to increase the high bound of the bend deformer. And you can go as far as you want to with that. But you don't want to go like, there's no point in going beyond a full loop. So anyway, so I'm going to set mine to 7. Okay, so now I've got my ball. It can bend and it can squash. There's the squash happening with some bend, and here's the bend happening. Okay, so now we decided that if I bend this deformer and we grab this ball and move and rotate it, just the ball mesh is going to continue to keep the same shape as as it already was, but you can see that the mouse